Hi, this is Bruce Logan Prigamar of the Media Outsiders, and this is another one of my video tutorials. Today we're going to talk about using TalkShoe's web client to host a TalkShoe show, and I'm going to be showing you the different buttons and features available on the web client. Now there are two different means for logging into a chat on TalkShoe, the first being the web client, which is the most common one that most people use. The reason for this is that when they look at the Live Now page, that's the first thing they see with all the shows available, is they see a button that says Join Now. By clicking that Join Now button, it takes them immediately in using the web client. If you go directly to the show page like we are here for the Media Outsiders, there's two buttons available. The first is this big, large, very visible button, and by clicking on that button, Start My Call, it immediately takes you into the web client. And it takes us to the screen and it shows us the web client. And I'm going to show you some of the different buttons and features available on the web client. Up at the very start up here, we have our show logo. Then we have the name of the show. This is the Media Outsiders. And by clicking on this link here, it takes you to the TalkShoe page that we were just at. Underneath that is the episode name. And then it tells you who the host is. And by clicking on this link here, it will take you to the host user page. Right next to it, right now this call is currently not being recorded, but once we do start recording, you'll see that this is going to change and it'll be a countdown. And then we have the guest participation. Now, I always allow guests to participate when they call into my show. A lot of people call in, they're just checking the show out. They pop in as a guest without using a TalkShoe ID, and this will enable them to chat right off the bat. Some people, they don't like that, so they hit the block participation, which will automatically, when a guest logs into a room, they will not be able to chat. It blocks them out. But I like to allow having my guests the chance to participate until they might prove themselves wrong. Here we have our chat display screen. This shows you all the communications that has been logged into the chat. When someone comes in, you see them, it says that they're logged in, says that they're on the call. When they chat, their conversations runs down the screen. Right here underneath, this is our chat window where you submit the buttons. Submit your chat. And as you can see, it came right down the screen. And it keeps going down, and all further communications will keep falling in under the most recent one. Here is who's in the room at the time. Right now we only have myself in the room. And for a host, it tells you some information. This button here tells you that the person is logged into the chat room. Now if they're not in the chat room, that will be grayed out. This button here tells you that the person is logged in as on the telephone as well. And then also, if you were to click on the link, it would go to that specific person's show page. Now if we have a number of people in here, say Dr. Robert White was in here as well, if I were to click on his name, it would take me to his user profile. Down at the very bottom down here, we have a report a concern button. Now if there's an issue going on with TalkShoe itself where you can't get connected, or maybe there's no streaming, say there's a pod crasher, you can click on this here and it would take you to a page where you could actually report an issue like this. But that is the report a concern button down at the bottom. Now there's a button over here that tells you also as a user and as a host how to call in. It tells you to dial in 1-724-444-7444. That's the number to the TalkShoe phone bridge. At that time you would enter call ID 81865 and the pound key. And then if you have a PIN number, it tells you to enter the PIN number. Now I have blocked out my PIN number because I don't want all you guys to have my PIN number. I mean, just for security reasons. Also, if you're using a VoIP program or a SIP program, it gives you the numbers how to dial in there, like with XLite or SJ phone. And that is 66.212.134.192. And at the bottom down here, it also tells you a little bit if you want to download TalkShoe Live Pro. It would take you to a link there that you could actually download TalkShoe Live Pro or launch it if you have that instead. Now, I'm not going to click on that because right now we don't want to launch it because we're talking about the web client. Now, for a host, the main buttons are right up here. And we have a series of buttons up here. We have 7 buttons. We have the Start Recording button. And we're going to go ahead and start a show. And by clicking on that, you hear the TalkShoe chime, the message, TalkShoe recorded live. And the show has already started. So now everything that I'm saying is actually being recorded for issue of the show. Now up at the top, we also have some other buttons as well. We have the Allow Chat button. And what this does here is this will, by clicking on this or by clicking on block chat. Now say we had a bunch of people in here and you wanted to block everyone out at one time. And I know some hosts that do this so that they can individually unblock certain people that they know have been proven and loyal to the show. By clicking on the block chat program, anyone that's in your room, it automatically just blocks every one of them straight down all the way down to the bottom. The allow chat does just the same thing. If they're blocked, it unblocks them. It allows everyone in the room at one time to come back in. Now we also have the same buttons over on the side here. We have mute all, which I use this quite a bit. Whenever I start a show, I mute everyone in the chat room because whenever I'm doing my intro and stuff like that, I like to have a nice clean intro. I like it to be without spoilers, people coughing, people clacking around on the keyboards in the background that a lot of time the mic will pick up. I mute them all and then I unmute them as I introduce them into the room. But at the same time you have the unmute all where it will unmute everyone at one time. So these are some of your main buttons right over here. You also have at the time you have the end button, and this will actually stop the show. When you're done recording, and we would do this at the end by the way just to show you how it's done, it stops the show right there at the end. The terminate button, this terminates the show, it closes down the chat room, and it sends the show off to TalkShoe to be processed. Now do understand this. Now we get a lot of emails about this all the time. Someone records a show, they record a 30-minute show, they end their show. 5 minutes later, their show hasn't shown up on their TalkShoe page. And they're sending off an email to TalkShoe saying, my show's not there, what happened? From the moment you hit the terminate button, it takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour on average for your show to appear on your TalkShoe page. During heavier server times, it can take upwards to 24 hours. So if your show does not appear immediately, give it a couple of hours, wait overnight. If it hasn't appeared by the next day, send an email to support@talkshoe.com and we can look into the issue. And one of the last things we have down here is we also have a little link here that goes straight to our blog page. And a lot of times TalkShoe will give little messages here like free training class for new and prospective hosts. But a lot of times you'll see a little advertising. If there's a special announcement, you'll see it up here where by clicking on this, it will go to the TalkShoe blog page. But these are some of the basic buttons up here. Now we're going to end our chat here by going to end. Call recording has been completed. It tells you right off the bat that the recording has ended. So right now it's just sitting there ready. Now a lot of people, they like to keep their shows going and have an after show where they can talk with their guests. They can talk with the people in their room. A lot of times the after shows are more entertaining than the regular shows are. I have found that out myself on my show. But say you're talking for half an hour and then it's getting really late and it's time to go to bed. You want to then hit terminate, and it is from this point when you hit terminate, it knocks everyone off the phone bridge. It sends your show off to TalkShoe to be processed, and it is from this point that it normally takes 30 minutes to an hour for it to appear in your show. It can take up to 24 hours after that. So we're going to terminate the show. As you can see, it has muted me out there, and we're ending the call, and it's being processed on. Well, those are the basic features of using the web client. We do encourage you to check out our free host training each month, and you can find the information on TalkShoe's blog page. We have it posted at the top of the page, and as you can see here, we do have it posted at the top of the web clients. Well, my name is Bruce Logan Pringamar, and this has been one of my video tutorials. You can find all of our tutorials at www.mediaoutsiders.com and also at TalkShoesupport.com. Until next time, you have a great day.